many.
I'm gonna have to stand up when I'm calling the names for the election.
Oh yeah, like just have a peek around the corner. Yeah.
I can't see Steve or Ariana, so I know what to show them.
Yeah.
Also, I just talked to the dentistry counselor that the reason Faith doesn't show up is because he does more of their intellectual affairs side and she does external affairs. So he thought the dentistry faculty thought that he could do the
Got your money, I heard? USC money? Crazy how famous it is. No,
None of us knew.
you got my thing I sent you.
Wait.
I sent that.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like I mean.
Come on. I have my grad picture.
Ooh, it's a great laser.
I got a Martian.
Oh, really? How much?
80 after. But like, you know, that's like pretty comparable for a ways. No, but it's off the back, but it's it's a fish brand. So, famous back there. Huh. Do you have a full house?
I'll see you later. You scared the crap out of me. He came behind me and I was like, what the fuck? It's so long.
It's gonna, the wires, yeah. It's good.
Oh, so she cared.
Well, no, I should. It seemed as though she was coming. Almost there.
Oh, and I get my show tomorrow. So it's a good day. Well, minus the fact that I would have.
Okay, could you do the couple?
The time is now 6:33 p.m. I call this meeting to order. I invite Councillor Puji Adhikari to the podium to deliver a land recognition.
As someone who immigrated to Canada from Sri Lanka and has since called Calgary, Waterloo, Ottawa, and now London home, I've had the privilege of seeing the richness and diversity of the communities that make up this country. But moving across these cities has also reminded me that each place holds a deeper history, one that existed long before any of us arrived, and one that continues to shape the land we live, learn, and lead on today. Standing here as a student leader, I recognize that my ability to be part of this community is made possible by the stewardship and resilience of the Indigenous people who have cared for these lands since time immemorial. As we gather in this space, it's essential that we ground our work in an understanding of that history and in our responsibility to honor it. This requires a commitment to ongoing learning, active listening, and taking responsibility for how each of us can advance reconciliation through the decisions we make in our roles and through the actions we take every day on campus. With that in mind, I acknowledge that Western University and our affiliate colleges are located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabeg, Haudenosaunee, Lenapehoik, and Chinungtung nations, on lands connected with the London Township and the Sombra Treaties of 1796 and the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. I respect the longstanding relationships that Indigenous nations have to this land, as they are the original caretakers. I acknowledge historical and ongoing injustices that Indigenous people, First Nation, Métis, and Inuit endure in Canada. As a public institution, we accept responsibility to contribute toward revealing and correcting miseducation, as well as renewing respectful relationships with Indigenous communities through our teaching, research, and community service.
Thank you, Councillor Adhikari. I'm now motioning for a 2-minute recess due to technical difficulties. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lovey. The recess passes. We will resume at 6:37 p.m.
Right now?
A coffee? Dude, as you should. Oh, I wanted
Oh, okay, okay.
I really wanted to get a Starbucks before. I'm actually freaking out. I have a performance. So I'm just like reading my music like over and over.
Where's the execs? Where are the execs? Was it whenever when are you VPOP?
I'm motioning to extend the recess to 6:45. Can I get a seconder? Counselor Lovey, are there any objections? The recess passes.
No, seriously, of course. I still don't know what. We don't know. What I'm talking about is not real. And you know what it looks like? When I was it's like something.
I can also do that.
I should play out of there. It's like a real Oh, the bird. That's the archetype. Yeah, it looks like I remember looking at something. What's exactly? My concern then is when we remove the sponsor. You're supposed to remove the sponsor. You can hear our sound effects as well. Like, what is that? Oh my god. What is that, bro? That's like the Yeti, bro. What is that? That's not the Yeti. Wait, where's the video? What song did you bring that up for? Bittersweet. Which one? Oh, really? That was actually, I guess, like pushing. Yeah, like, no, it's a crazy, like, because, bro, I like that song, it's so, like, it's like, bro, it's like, why are you, no, actually, it's not that. Actually, it's not that.
It's okay. Oh my god, fuck. Yeah, I
I'm not gonna play the video. I'm not gonna play the video.
You want to do this week or no?
That was so funny. What coffee did you get? I need your availability.
Okay, we'll find out soon.
Get straight
Priorities.
to the point.
Priorities.
I'm actually obsessed.
How's your, in terms of, right after. We're done most of it.
The time is now 6:45 p.m. I call this meeting back to order. Our apologies, the Zoom didn't like the fact it was screen sharing on my computer, but we are back in order. Moving on to roll call. Counselors, please head over to Echo 360 to log your attendance. The session ID is 232850. Counselors, we're waiting on 3 more of you. If anyone's having difficulties logging into Echo 360 or recording your attendance, please raise your placard. Thank you, Counselor. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Our November meeting is a 2-part meeting. In part 1 today, we will hear comments from myself, the Board of Directors report delivered by Grace Wu, which will include a summary of information related to the review of the board's annual audited financial statements. Our 4-action portion of part 1 includes 3 elections: the motion to elect 3 counselors to Purple Care Trustee Hiring Panel, the motion to elect 3 outgoing counselors to the Hired VP Recruitment Panel, and the motion to elect 1 outgoing counselor to the Board of Directors Nominating Committee. For each of these elections, candidates will be given 2 minutes to present a speech with no Q&A period. I will give more information on the elections in the comments from the chair. Following the elections, we have 3 first readings. This means I will only be reading the motion, asking for a seconder, and we will go into question period. No amendments, points of debate, or objections can be raised for the first readings, and we will not be voting on the items during this time. The first readings are the motion to approve amendments to the council composition procedure, the motion to approve amendments to the external relationships policy, and the motion to approve amendments to the conference and retreat policy. That will conclude our first part today. We'll continue part 2 on December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. with our executive reports and the November feedback and advocacy update presentation. The November feedback and advocacy update presentation will be in camera. This means only ordinary members of council may be in attendance for this presentation, and a separate recording and set of minutes will be taken for this presentation. I will ask all non-members of council to exit the room for this presentation. They can then return after the in-camera session is closed and an open session resumes. The reason this presentation is in camera is because in ACUSC, a motion to move the president's advocacy update to an in-camera session was carried by majority vote. In order for an in-camera motion to be eligible, it must qualify under bylaw number 1. Under bylaw number 1, an item is eligible for in-camera discussion only if it contains information that is legally privileged, related to personnel or identifiable individuals, contractually confidential or otherwise sensitive in a way that would make public disclosure inappropriate. ACUSC found that this presentation qualifies under those grounds. After the presentations, we have the motion to approve executive reports and our second readings of the motion to approve amendments to the council composition procedure, the motion to approve amendments to the external relationships policy, and the motion to approve amendments to the conference and retreat policy. In this portion, amendments, debate, and objections can take place and we will vote. Following that, we'll have our questions from the Western community and an opportunity for new business. Can I have a mover to approve the agenda, please? Councillor Adhikari. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Wasti. Are there any questions regarding approving the agenda? Are there any amendments or points of debate? Are there any objections? Please head over to Echo 360 to vote. Are there any objections? We will return at 6:56 p.m.
What was that? You can join me. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. The USC. I'm like trying to get in the psyche of the person who's like off of USC enough to show up and do this. Like who feels this strongly? No, they wouldn't do this.
I wonder if it was like someone who's actually.
Yeah, I just said he can just DM me responses and then we try to. Yeah, like a little.
I would get that because like,
The time is now 6:56 p.m. I call this meeting back to order. So we've kicked that person out of the Zoom viewing, so hopefully that doesn't occur again. The motion to approve the agenda passes. Can I get a mover to approve the October USC General Council meeting minutes? Councillor Abedi. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Bose. Are there any questions regarding the motion? Are there any amendments or points of debate? Are there any objections? Please head over to Echo 360 to record your vote. The motion passes. Moving on to my comments, a reminder that November is a two-part meeting with part 2 taking place on December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. in this room. If you attended this part 1 but don't attend part 2, it will count as an absence regardless if you send us a regrets or proxy form for the second part. During standing committee meetings for this month, I discussed an upcoming council training session. After further consideration and reviewing your feedback, we are moving this training to January to give us adequate time to plan a proper, worthwhile training session. It'll take place during the first or second week back to school in January and be in person. More information will come during the winter break, so make sure you check your USC emails and Slack over the break. If there's anything you think council would benefit from during this training session, you can always email me or message me on Slack. A lot of the feedback I've gotten from counselors has revolved around council feeling discouraged to participate, as well as the feeling that council is executive driven. I think training will help with this a lot, as it'll give you the confidence to properly use Robert's rules to participate without feeling as if you're using Robert's rules wrong. During a council meeting, if there's ever any action you want to take but don't know exactly how to do it, you can always raise your hand and explain what you'd like to do, and I'll assist you with how to do it correctly on the floor. Regarding council meetings being executive driven, all voting members on council have the same abilities, Everyone can submit motions, presentations, and discussion items during the call for agenda items. There are many resources available in the drive, and you can always reach out to myself or Dane for assistance when it comes to submitting anything. When raising new business, you must be able to prove to me that it is time sensitive and must be raised at that specific meeting. During council training, there will be information and tips about submitting items during call for agenda. I want to remind you all a bit about council procedure. Anything said at all during a debate should be directed to me rather than the councilor you are debating. Additionally, if we are still in question period during a motion, please ensure you are framing your questions as questions rather than debate. After questions, I'm always going to give you the opportunity to debate. When asking questions or debating, a speaking order is created on the spot by Isabella. For each session, each councillor will get a maximum of 2 opportunities to speak. Councillors can speak a second time only once everyone has had the chance to speak once. Additionally, councillors are only permitted to speak a maximum of 10 minutes in a question or debate session. Additionally, anything said at all during council meetings should be directed to me, the chair, rather than any other councillor. Regarding our elections today, I will ask you to raise your hand to self-nominate yourself for the position. Following that, Isabella will create a speaking order based on the councillors' names alphabetically. I will then invite each nominee to the podium to present a two-minute campaign speech to council. There will be no Q&A period for these speeches. Following all speeches, voting will be conducted by secret ballot through the use of a Google form. Dane will post a link in Slack and temporarily in the agenda. Voting will be open for 3 minutes. I will then motion for recess so we can tabulate the votes. After recess, I will announce the winners and we will vote to ratify the motion. You cannot leave the room while voting is taking place for these elections. For the election of 3 outgoing councillors to the hired VP recruitment panel, councillors sitting on the hiring committee must not have any intention of returning to council next year or be running for any position on council and or the executive team during the 2026 USC spring general election. They will be randomly assigned to reviews by USC hiring personnel. For the election of 1 outgoing councillor to the Board of Directors Nominating Committee, councillors sitting on the nominating committee must not have any intention of returning to council next year or be running for any position on council and or the executive team during the 2026 USC spring general election. Lastly, I want to welcome and congratulate our new councillors, Hamza Gandhi, Camelia Eshke, Harrison Powell, Jacob McKenzie, Joshua Graham, Tyler Turk, and Gurvi Jassy. If this is your first council meeting, please raise your placard. We're going to go in a circle here, starting with Councillor Joshua Graham, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello? Well, I'll speak loud enough. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Hey everyone, I'm Josh. I'm second year BMOS. I'm really excited to be here. I was on social science city council last year. Kind of got a taste of council. I've been to a couple USC meetings in the gallery. And I'm here to be involved. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Councillor. Moving this way, if there's any new councillors who haven't come to a meeting yet.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Harrison. It's a pleasure to meet you all. If you want to come introduce yourself afterwards, feel free. And I'm very excited for all the work we're going to be doing this year. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Harrison.
I did introduce myself last meeting, but I'm Tyler Turk, the Huron counselor. Excited to work with you all this year.
Hi guys, my name's Camelia. I'm in 4th year clinical kinesiology. I've been super involved with the USC last year and the year before that, but I'm super excited to be in this position and get to know you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Hamza. I'm in my 3rd year of health sciences and I'm so excited to be joining you guys as a health science counselor this year. I've already been involved with a lot of great work on the faculty council and within HSSA as well, so my Health Studies Association, and yeah, I'm super excited to bring that work and that effort here to USC General Council. So yeah, thanks for the welcome, guys.
And if anyone would like a gluten-free meal option, it's sitting to the left of Dane. Those are all of my comments for today. I invite Grace Wu, the chair of the board of directors, to the podium to deliver her board of directors report.
Okay, hi everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying a very snowy, haily day. I'm just here to present the audited financial statements and to share some things about what the board's been up to. So we got the audited financial statements presented by PwC like 2 weeks ago or something. Basically, what the auditor does for people who might not be business students is auditors come in and they talk with management who makes financial statements and to see whether or not that is correct and if anything substantial is missing or inaccurate, things like that. And PwC has found no material misstatements, so everything is all good. And where are my notes? Yeah, and they also checked for any risks of fraud, and they have found no significant risks for fraud as well. We have a very competent finance manager, Juliet, and she's been working really well and collaborated smoothly with our auditors throughout the process of a few months, so that's been great. And just moving on to some committee level activities, starting with finance. We went over some NEI investment reports to discuss our investment fees, performance, and some environmental, sustainable, and governance policies. So NEI is a leader in active ESG engagement and sustainable investing. We've been with them for the past 3 or 4 years. So we also went over our Q1 and August financial statements. We received our first and second tranches of student fees from Western University, which is great, and our Q1 operational budget has been used up by 85%, which is on track with what we are expecting. Our cash position and investments are remaining healthy and performing very well. In terms of governance, we have approved and updated some new documents. I'll just go over them. So there's the interim financial report procedure, intern and associate VP scope of responsibilities, and the appeals board terms of reference policies. No major changes were made. The changes were largely just to bring the policies up to date with some current language from the new electoral code, which you guys have all seen and approved, and the conflict of interest policy. And then from an HR perspective, we have set the nomination committee members for board representation in the hiring of board of directors, club's governance board, hired executives, and the elections governance board, the new one. And yeah, you guys will have the opportunity to represent council in these boards as well, and it's a really great opportunity to get an understanding of USC and how it runs, so highly recommend you guys all put your names out there. That is all from me and the board. Open to any questions at this point.
Thank you, Grace. Are there any questions?
Okay, have a great day, guys.
Moving on to our first 4 action item of this evening, the election of 3 counselors to the Purple Care Trustee Hiring Panel. Please raise your placard if you would like to self-nominate yourself for this position. Please raise your placards again and keep them raised. To confirm, The individuals self-nominating are Councillor Guman, Councillor Lovey, and Councillor Logaswaran. Seeing that we need 3 councillors to fill this position and 3 councillors self-nominated, Councillor Guman, Lovey, and Logaswaran have won the election. The motion reads, whereas 3 councillors are needed to sit on the hiring panel for the 2025-2026 Purple Care trustees, be it resolved that council elect 3 outgoing non-returning councillors to sit on the Purple Care trustee hiring panel. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Sanialu. Are there any questions regarding the motion? Are there any amendments or points of debate? Are there any objections? Please head to Echo 360 to vote. Councillors, if you're having any trouble with your Echo 360, please raise your placard. The motion passes. Moving on to our second election, the election of 3 outgoing councillors to the hired VP recruitment panel. And a reminder that councillors sitting on the hiring committee must not have any intention of returning to council next year or be running for any position on council and or the executive team during the 2026 USC spring general election. They will be randomly assigned to reviews by USC hiring personnel. If you would like to self-nominate for this position, please raise your placard. Please keep your placards raised if you are nominating yourself for this position. Given that this needs 3 positions and we have 3 candidates, Councillors Lim, Murcia, and Lovey have won the election. The motion reads, whereas the hiring process for the hired vice president roles require 3 outgoing councillors to sit on the panel, and whereas the interview process will take place in person in March 2026, be it resolved that council elects 3 outgoing councillors to sit on the vice president hiring panel. Can I please get a seconder? Councillor McKenzie. Are there any questions regarding the motion? Are there any amendments or points of debate? Are there any objections? Please head to Echo 360 to vote. The motion passes. Moving on to our third and final election, the election to elect one outgoing counselor to the Board of Directors Nominating Committee. A reminder that counselors sitting on the nominating committee must not have any intention of returning to council next year or be running for any position on council and or the executive team during the 2026 USC Spring General Election. Please raise your placard if you would like to nominate yourself. Councilors, you may now lower your placard. Our candidates for this election are Councillor Fernagi and Councillor Wasti. I now invite Councillor Rogina Fernagi to the podium to deliver a 2-minute speech to council.
Hi guys, I'm Rogina. I'm in my 4th year. I'm going to be graduating this year. I have lots of experience being a part of different committees at Western. I think I would bring a diverse background of knowledge to the board. I'm a very fair and honest person, and I would love to be given this opportunity. I wasn't really ready for a speech, so yeah, that's all I have to say, but vote for me.
Thank you, Councillor. I now invite Councillor Hamza Wasti to the podium to deliver a 2-minute speech.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to nominate myself as I have a deep passion for governance, being a counselor, past counselor, advocating for students outside of the university, such as during USA, in prior years. Additionally, governance in trying to ensuring kind of the top people and ensuring in the entrepreneurship building, ensuring the maker spaces are safe and ensuring that we have the right procedures in place. Additionally, I have had the pleasure of taking a corporate governance course with Trevor Hunter at King's, and where I got to explore kind of governance, the good and the bad. And as I have this passion and with my experience with coursework, I'd hope you would vote for me and kind of nominate a good board of director that can do their job well while being open for opportunities, while also being able to say no to things that are very important. So thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Dane will now be sending out a Google form on Slack and in the main meeting agenda. You have 3 minutes to cast your vote. Yes, Counselor.
I am ineligible to vote today because of my regrets, correct?
That is correct. I'd like to motion to recess to tabulate the results of the election. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Lovey, are there any objections? We will return at 7:29 p.m.
Sorry, point of information. We're not
Yes,
allowed
Counselor?
to leave the room, correct?
You can now because voting is over. Because it's a recess, you are able to leave.
That's a whole squad.
Okay, great. Yeah, yeah. This one? Oh, then why is that saying channel 10? Okay. Okay. Test. Do you think this is loud enough? It's like all the way up. Test. Jeff was the one who told me to turn up the gain if there was anything. Doesn't that one go? Just like talking on the podium, she was like so far from the mic. So I was trying to I already turned the fader all the way up and it wasn't like doing much. So test.
Council, please head back to your seats. The recess is over. The time is now 7:29 p.m. I call this meeting back to order. The counselor elected to the Board of Directors Nominating Committee is Regina Fernaghi. The motion reads, whereas the board nominating committee terms of reference require one outgoing, non-returning counselor to participate in the selection process for new board directors, be it resolved that council elect one outgoing counselor to serve on the board of directors nominating committee for the 2026-2027 selection process. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Eshke. Are there any questions regarding this motion? Are there any amendments or points of debate? Are there any objections? Please head to Echo 360 to cast your vote. The motion passes. Moving on to our first readings. A reminder that first readings mean I will only be reading the motion, asking for a seconder, and we'll go into question period. There will be no amendments, points of debate, or objections, or voting at this time. This will occur in the second part of the meeting on December 3rd. Our first reading for our first motion is the motion to approve amendments to the council composition procedure. The motion reads, whereas the council composition procedure is subject to annual administrative updates in addition to a substantive review every 3 years. Whereas this year's scheduled substantive review identified only minor administrative changes are required for clarity and consistency. Be it resolved that council approve the amended council composition procedure as presented. Be it further resolved that the USC shall receive the updated enrollment figures effective January 2026 and submit them to council for information. President Henriquez is our mover. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Whiteside. Are there any questions regarding the motion? Councillor Guman. On Echo 360? We won't be voting on Echo 360 anymore because these are just first readings. No worries. Are there any other questions regarding the motion? Moving on to our next first reading. We have the motion to approve amendments to the external relationships policy. The motion reads, whereas the USC reviews its policies regularly to maintain accuracy and alignment, whereas the external strategy and relationships policy contained outdated references, be it resolved that council approve the amended external strategy and relationships policy as presented. President Henriquez is the mover. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Turk. Are there any questions regarding the motion? Moving on to our final first reading of the evening. The motion to approve amendments to the conference and retreat policy. The motion reads, whereas the USC conducts regular policy reviews to maintain clarity and consistency, whereas the conference and retreat policy required minor administrative updates, be it resolved that council approve the administrative amendments to the conference and retreat policy as presented. President Henriquez is the mover. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lovey. Are there any questions regarding this motion? A reminder This meeting will resume December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. in this room. I'm motioning to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a seconder, please? So many of you, I can't choose. Councillor Lagaswaran, are there any objections? The time is now 7:34 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.